It's New Year's Eve. Where the hell is everybody going on New Year's Eve? Hello there, YouTube. It's a new experiment. Going forwards, looking backwards. Testing out the new lid with the new microphone placement. See how things are going to go, see how things are going to work. I'm telling you now, this yellow visor is freaking the living crap out of me. It's just totally weird. Totally weird. I can't see how this would work at all at night. It hasn't just reduced everything down to a two-tone, which is what I was really expecting. It's sort of, I don't know, it sort of dulls everything down. It's supposed to make things clearer to you. I mean, I've only had this thing on 5 minutes, so actually 2 minutes. So maybe it's something you need to get used to, I don't know. But right now it's just too different. But we'll try it for a while. See how it gets on. It definitely seems to take the brightness away from the sky. It seems to even out light, if that makes any sense. But it also seems to reduce it everywhere. As if you're sort of riding at dusk, even in the middle of the day, which it is now. We're also experimenting with a little Joby utility fixing arm, such a type thing, kind of, whatever, which is looking back at me right now, and it's wobbling all over the bloody place. I don't think this thing's going to work at all, which is a crying shame. It comes in two sections, and the initial section, the first section that actually attaches to the bike itself, looks very sturdy, but the second section has to be attached in order to attach the camera. Now, if you could attach the camera straight to the first arm, that would be great, but you can't. And I think it's the second arm, all the connections and everything, the entire length, is making the thing very, very unstable. And we're stuck in traffic again. Oh, great. Anyway, you don't know if this stuff's going to work unless you try it. This visor is supposed to be non-steam as well, and unless it's my glasses, it certainly is not non-steam. There it is. Yeah, so much for the visor being non-steam, which is the main reason to buy this damn thing. So that's a nice 400 quid up the fence spout. Pardon my French, but I'm well pissed. I mean, it is winter, and it is cold. So if it's going to steam, it's going to steam now. Just seems a bit of a shame. I mean, I've only been out of the house 6 minutes, and it's already showed itself up as a not what it says on the tin type thing. Anyway, hopefully, since the camera mount doesn't seem to work very well, obviously it works okay when a bike stands still, which sort of defies the whole point, really, of a bike. And since the visor seems to be steaming up, but then again, we're standing still in traffic, and I think you're expecting a bit much for that kind of thing to work while you're standing still in traffic, freezing cold, breathing hot air. So maybe once we get out of the traffic, we'll start moving a bit, try it again. And I'm hoping the mic's going to work. The mic is a Cena SMH10. It's the extra pack that you get, so you can use the center with more than one lid. So basically you get the link to the lid, the earpieces and the microphone. Now the microphone on this one, I've only used the standard little foam cup that you get with the thing. My other lid, I've used a little bit of teddy bear fur, if you like, a little bit of the skin from a teddy bear cut out and just dropped over the top of it, and that works great. But I thought I'd just try this just straight out of the box, just to see how it goes. Well, the visor has cleaned up again. Let's see how long it lasts. You know, I do seem to be more prone than most to internal visor steaming for some reason. I have no idea why. There is still steam there. Oops. Always forget the damn indicators, and then because of where they've got the friggin' horn, you sort of jump to switch the indicator off because you feel like a bit of a plonker for leaving it on. You hit the horn, make yourself an even bigger bloody plonker. Yeah. It's a lot warmer today, definitely above freezing. But the roads are still pretty greasy. So I'm really having to watch what I'm doing. Excuse me. Actually, I don't know if you can see that from the camera, but there's a lot of condensation building up on the bottom inside of the visor, which can ya be good? Can ya be good, you know? Actually, I'm getting used to this visor. I'm still not entirely sure it actually adds anything to the quality of your visuals, but the one great thing is about this visor, or at least this lid, is the broad sweep of the eye hole, if you like, of this lid. Gives you masses and masses of visibility. When you fling your eyes to your left and your right, you can really see around. I mean, you can see just by looking at this lid from the outside how much visor space you've actually got. But when you've actually got this thing on, Jesus, what a difference it makes. There with this. See if I can find this. There it is. Yes. Oh, wrong one. I'm at the post box again. I was actually leaving the house and I was panicking because I couldn't fit any letters into this jacket. My wife turned around and says, well, why don't you just use the storage in the bike? Well, obviously. Yes, I can be a complete nut and numpty at times. But, you know, you're living alone, like you're living alone. Let these cars get by. Off we're going again. Yep, just a short run to the post box today. So I can see it. Just to test out this gear. I don't know how exaggerated that shaking in the camera is actually going to look on the film. It might actually not look as bad as it looks to me, if you know what I mean. But I've got a horrible feeling it's going to look absolutely crap. Which was a crying shame. I mean, maybe these things aren't actually meant for fixing on the bikes, but I mean, it's meant for a GoPro. What do you do with a GoPro? You go and do action stuff. So, anyway, I mean, I've got it as tight as I dared. You know, you don't want to over tighten that kind of stuff. Or maybe I should. I don't know. Like I say, if I could get a fixing to attach the camera directly to the initial arm, I think that would actually solve all the problems. Well, I'm saying, and I'm guessing, obviously, but I don't know. Seems a crying shame. It was a Christmas present off my wife, so I don't want to not use it. But, I guess this is just the first experiment. Maybe I can come up with something a little bit better, but a different place to put it, but I fitting. I don't know, but basically the mounts and everything or the mount to the bike itself is rubber, so obviously that's going to bounce around a little bit. But it doesn't really seem like that. It seems more like I say, the extra length at the elbow joint that's causing the bother. Maybe I should just drive at 2 miles an hour everywhere. That'd be alright, wouldn't it? Make for a bit of a boring vlog, mate. Anyway, we'll get back home, see how it looks. You never know, it may not be as bad as it looks. I'm just hoping the microphone works out well where it is and I don't have to start messing around too much with all that stuff again. I tell you one thing though, this lid is very, very bloody comfortable. The only place I'm feeling pressure on my head really is, let's see, just a little bit up on the crown towards the back, but it just feels cushioned. It doesn't really feel pressured. There's a little bit of pressure on each of my cheekbones, but it's by no means painful at all. It's just, like I say, a little bit of pressure. How weird, woman. And considering this is the first raid wear for this thing, I'm really impressed. I mean, as they say, you should buy a lid to feel tight first on, because it's going to give a little, and you always want your lid to feel snug, because if it doesn't and you come across her and you come a cropper, then that thing could end up flying off your head, and obviously that's the last thing you want to happen. But geez, this thing just feels like a second skin, and it feels like there's loads of room to talk. My lower jaw feels like it can just go for miles. The previous lid I used to use, the Shoei Hornet, was immensely comfortable, but there was a little bit of restriction in the cheeks, which there is with this, to be honest. I mean, if there wasn't, then the thing wouldn't be fitting right, let's face it. But the thing with this is the pressure on the side of my face is a little bit higher. Like I say, it's on the cheeks, the cheekbones, instead of the soft tissue of the cheeks themselves. So it doesn't so much restrict your cheeks as you talk. I mean, it does restrict them a little bit, obviously, but I couldn't imagine it being any better than this. So I am really impressed. I mean, actually, the visor hasn't steamed up either. Well, then again, I had it open through motors. So, but no, right now we're travelling. I'm assuming it's because possibly all the temperatures inside and out have evened out. I've cooled down quite a bit. So it seems to be working. Maybe that's what it comes down to. All the temperatures have got to even out before it sort of finds its place, kind of thing. But I would still imagine if you come sort of to a halt and you're just sitting there breathing, the thing's going to steam up, I would imagine. So maybe I was giving it a bit of a hard time initially there, but it's definitely working now. What do you think? Anyway, that's the first test over. My eyes feel like they're doing somersaults with this yellow. Yellow. But I don't know. Might get used to it. I mean, I can't do umpteen different visors for this thing, so I could always change it. Maybe just get it clear. I'm not in for all these colours and fancy knickknacks and doodads, especially if you're going to use the lid at night. I don't want any restrictions to visuals at night. It's just way too dangerous. Maybe I'm just getting soft from my old age, but I like to keep upright and straight, you know what I mean? I've had the experience of sliding down the road at God knows how many miles an hour, and it's not pleasant, and I don't want to do it again. Anyway, mi casa. We'll get inside, have a look. Hopefully it's worked okie dokie, but I'm not too hopeful. As long as I get some good sound from it, I think that'll be a win, to be honest.